This one will be interesting to do because it's half a Once I'm done recording this, I can't take it back. This is about how society went from judging products on what they are to judging products on who created it, and talking about that and how many feel sorry for me cards can they pull. This is also a story about very heavy censorship in current video game media, together with the favor towards games that aren't really games. So let me start out by reading comments that I did leave. This is about a game that's called That Dragon Cancer. It's one man's attempt to cash in on the death of his son, the way that I see it. It's not an adventure game, even though it advertises itself as it. At best, it's a very linear walking simulator. At worst, it can't be even called a game. I will read out the comments that I left. I know that this is a very personal opinion and that I'll probably have a lot of attacks and disagreements over this, but this is just the way I see it. The game in itself is pretty bad. It's not 2 hours long, even though that's what it advertises itself as. It's about 50 minutes long. Mechanically, it breaks. If you have screen larger than 1080p, it breaks. Even though there's very little gameplay there, what is there is pretty confusing and pretty bad. There are very few choices that you can do, and they're all false choices. For example, in one scene you can listen to 4 different people. So you go, okay, they all must have different input and different dialogue on it. No, if you choose the doctor or the nurse in that scene, you only hear the doctor speak. If you choose mother or father, you also hear their thoughts. So really, for best experience, you have 2 choices, not 3, not 4. Which is quite funny, because somebody responded to me saying, oh, point me at a game that doesn't give you a false choice. Well, it's pretty much the only choice that the game actually gives you, so it's pretty much a shame that it is what it is. The game's far too abstract. It featured a realistic situation once that was pretty gripping emotionally, but for a lot of the scenes, cancer is portrayed as an endless sea, and you're playing a bird that's jumping from rubble to listen to conversations. It's actually pretty clunky to try and jump from rubble to rubble. I'll be able to film this at some point and do a proper review, though I don't know if I want to. I'm probably already stirring quite a few negative comments. Quite a bit of a mess, I would say, because I'm almost 100% sure that I'm gonna be barraged for it. The art style of the game is creepy. You don't know how creepy it gets until you see 10 faceless babies as an indicator of what to interact with, and disembodied voices. The gamification itself of the game is just wrong. You're racing in a hospital, for example, collecting drugs as power-ups and pushing away chickens. You're flying through the sky and avoiding cancer cells. You're trying to make father swim upwards in the sea. They all just seem to take away from the story so much, except especially having in mind that they're super clunky to control. Now, part 2 and 3 of my comments is where PC Gamer took issue. Can't blame them for taking issue, but I still disagree with censorship. To sum it up, the family in its blogs state that they're celebrating their son's death. They celebrate their son's death every single year now because that's the day that poor Joel went to heaven. The game portrays death as a positive thing. Their son now has a dog and infinite pancakes. He's happy in heaven. What could be better? They're also monetizing this. In their Kickstarter, it was plastered all over the place, not just I made this game about cancer. No, that would be 100 million times better. No, it's pictures of their son everywhere, going, look at me, look at my son. He died for cancer. Want to give me $80,000 because I want $80,000. Oh, after you gave me $80,000, how about 14 pounds per copy? But because this was their choice, I can choose to judge it as a product because they put it as a game and not an art piece. I can judge it as a game. And I can see that at the moment, the only reason anyone's giving it time is the topic and the look at how poor I am card. Kind of like, you can't criticize this product because the creator of it is female. You can't criticize this product because it deals with suicide. You can't criticize this product because it deals with cancer, because that's where society went. And this is exactly the kind of arguments that I'm getting from one person that's constantly replying to me that I'm gonna show you a bit later. For now, all I'm gonna say is that 2 out of 3 of my comments were deleted with saying of any more of this and you're banned. And as one person stated, this is the problem to objectively review any game about something like cancer. Any criticism is met by, but OMG, cancer, the feels, which it is. How dare you criticize that family? How dare you question the way that they deal with loss because it's their way of dealing with loss? How dare you say anything negative? You'll be banned for saying anything negative because it's a game about cancer. And this is exactly what I'm sick of. I'm sick of not being able to express an opinion because the topic is controversial, because it might hurt somebody. But I take a stance on this. I disagree on monetizing death, especially when it was a minor that died. Part 2 of this. Time to talk about arguments that people give in favor of the game and exactly why I can't take this game seriously, because all of them is quite an emotional argument. This one I have had flashed on screen for quite a while a few minutes ago, but let's turn back to it. I'm not gonna read the full argument because some of the comment is alright and I can take criticism. The fact that I can't relate to their faith doesn't mean that there shouldn't be any faith in the game. I'm fairly okay with that. However, these few quotes. Your standards have no bearing on how a person deserves to grieve. That I am sorry is utterly arrogant of you. Under what moral pretext do you get to judge them? Well, how about the fact that it's not only a coping mechanism, but this product is making money out of death? Coping mechanisms are one thing, monetizing it is another. And this little peculiar piece. But ultimately, this game is not about the gameplay. It's got nothing to do with the profit. It has nothing to do with whatever ghastly opinion you may have formed of their motives, and everything with learning to be human again. This person just said that the game has nothing to do with being a game. It doesn't matter if it's a good game, because it's about cancer. It doesn't matter if it's clunky, because it's about cancer. It doesn't matter if the story in-game is disjointed, because it's about cancer. And that's one of the arguments I keep on getting. You can't criticize it because it's cancer. Why can't I criticize a game just because it picked a dark topic? That was sort of my response, together with saying that to me it seems immoral and cold, and I'm allowed to express my opinion that I see it as immoral and cold. As the game is buggy, short, linear and disjointed, and I'm going to say that it's buggy, short, linear and disjointed. Maybe there is a place for serious topics in games, but this one's execution is completely off, and the only reason why you're praising it is because you either feel sorry for them or you feel connection to them due to disease. And I was right. He answers with, yes, I do have a connection because of the disease, because I had cancer myself and it awakens memories. That's all good and well, but you can't say that it's a good product only because it brings you back memories. It has to be judged on its own merit without getting points for topic. Then he goes a bit on a rant, going, there's no point arguing with individuals such as yourself regarding this purely as an art form. Go ahead and criticize an author publishing a book on their experiences. Example, Annie Frank. Annie Frank's book was a diary. It was a heavily edited diary with a lot of irrelevant parts cut off. And it wasn't gamified. You didn't go sprint racing around killing camp of Jews, did you? You didn't get to pop balloons with Nazi faces. If you made a game like this, you would probably be hunted down. You would be told of how dare you treat this topic like this. But as soon as you're a parent of the kid that went through something horrible, it's suddenly allowed. And that's what I see was wrong. If you want gameplay for gameplay's sake and story, I can recommend games like The Witcher 3. So I shouldn't play this game for gameplay or story. What should I see it as then? The gaming world is blurring the lines between pure art and what message it presents and pure entertainment very rapidly. But this whole comment indicates that the game isn't entertaining. That was my whole answer to this, and I mostly summed it up, responding to him directly. This is what I get back, and this is where I stop responding because honestly it's very much hopeless. The game will be good because it's cancer. And that's the argument that you're gonna get. And nobody else on the internet will criticize this, I guarantee you, because social justice warriors and we should feel sorry for cancer victims, so any product to do with cancer should be bought, consumed, and not questioned. Honestly, if I wanted to feel sorry for cancer victims, I would donate to cancer charities. I would try and further medicine. I wouldn't try and raise cancer awareness by gamifying it. And this is his response. Creative works originate from and flourish within all kinds of spaces and communities. Can't agree with this, but I still feel like this is completely wrong medium for it. Experience, perspective, stage in life, these things all contribute to how work is constructed and how it is received. True, but objectively this product is just bad. You have an emotional connection to the project, and that's your whole argument. What does not contribute anything to apart from a sense of I am emotionally stunted fool who probably needs a couple of punches in the teeth to sort out my emotional control issues is the whole culture of I'm going to tear things apart I do not like. Actually, that's called criticism. Internet used to be full of it until Tumblr and places like similar to Tumblr decided that It isn't, you're not allowed to oppose an opinion. You're banned for just opposing an opinion, which is huge censorship, and which is exactly what I'm taking issue with all of this situation. You're gonna censor me because you do not like my opinion. I do not care for many great things. That's great. You're free to not care. That doesn't mean that those things are bad, just that I do not care for them. My opinion is one in a sea of countless voices, and it counts for just as little absent as following tide. True. However, if nobody expressed their opinion, the only opinion out there would be the right one, which is wrong. I think that everybody should be free to express their opinion and decide for themselves. I like what I like and I let others like what I do not. It's pretty simple. That's great, but that does not remove your right to criticize a product if you see it as inherently wrong. If you really feel like raining all over somebody else's good time is a demonstration of intellectual superiority, personal development, or artistic sensibility, I suggest investing in a mirror and asking yourself what you have done that anyone remember you before criticizing others. That's very much besides the point, and he outlines my next argument immediately. And note that I shouldn't have to create the criticize, I know it's lurking there between the lines, argument doesn't hold water here. There's a wide gulf between legitimate criticism of literature, art, music, film, and this toddler bawling that continues to permeate gaming culture. Okay, the person that wrote the original article, journalist that you're commenting on, he has no experience creating games. He is not a developer. He's criticizing it and he's providing his own personal opinion on it. But because it's cancer, there was actually a comment saying this. You're contractually obliged to like it because it's cancer, and that's what's wrong with it. No, I'm not a critic. I'm not the best critic out there. I don't do this for a living, but I have a right to express my opinion. Nuanced critique is valuable and should never be silenced. Entitlement is exactly what it sounds like and should be treated as such. Yes, I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm entitled to have it, you're entitled to not like it. I think that censorship inherently is really wrong. This video probably sounds very, very disjointed, but I hope that it's kind of clear what kind of mess it is out there and what I'm trying to convey. And no, I don't feel like I'm a bad person for criticizing a product. Because let me reiterate, product's theme, who created it, and how much we feel sorry for that individual should have nothing to do with how we rate the product. How we rate the product should be all on the product. My personal comments about the family, my personal comments about their faith, that shouldn't be how we rate the product either. But that's my personal side of things. This is how I see it. The way that I see it, they're glorifying death and monetizing it, which I cannot stand for. But that still doesn't also invalidate my comment that the game is simply bad. I hope that this is understandable and I'm not turning into gibberish. I just really needed to get it off my chest. Thank you for listening.